At the 2022 APS March meeting, the physics community gathers in Chicago and online to discuss new developments and research in physics. The hybrid March meeting program explores a wide range of topics, from nanotechnologies to quantum computers, gravitational waves, and much more. And APS TV is right here, bringing you all the latest from the meeting. Welcome back to the McCormick Place Convention Center in Episode 3 of APS TV 2022. As attendees are joining the third day of the March meeting in person or virtually, we hear more from some of our APS thought leaders. We're joined by the APS editor and publisher to find out the latest in APS publishing. We find out more about the APS Welcoming Global Hub. We hear more about some of the companies leading the way in quantum research and development. And finally, we ask you, what has changed in the physics world in the last 2 years with COVID? As you can see, there's a lot of interesting content coming up there, so stay tuned and join us for our first interview. You're watching APS TV. Michael Tennyson, APS Editor-in-Chief, and Jeff Lewandowski, who is the Director of Publishing and Acting Publisher, are with me now. Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good morning.
So talk with me about APS Publishing and what the focus has really been over the last year.
So last year represented some really exciting developments in our newest fully open access journals. So we announced the launch of PRX Energy, which is the second in a series of a new brand of highly selective, high impact, fully open access journals focused on a multidisciplinary community, and in this case, energy, science, and technology. We also had the first full year of publication in PRX Quantum, which is the first in that series. And with that one, we published over 200 papers. So the uptake was much greater than we ever expected. The community really is enjoying that journal. And that journal has been fully indexed in Web of Science and will get its first impact factor this upcoming summer. And finally, Physical Review Research, which we launched at the last in-person March meeting, 2019, published its 3,000th paper last year. And so again, speaking to the great need that it's filling for the community.
But launching new journals is not the only thing we did. We also have to continue developing the existing journals. So we did several new initiatives based on feedback from the community, talking to the researchers at meetings virtually. For example, we are offering now publishing new article types like perspectives and tutorials. This was something that researchers wanted. So we're just starting to publish those. We started a new section in our archival journals, a letter section. Again, this was asked for by the community. In terms of inclusion, we instituted a name change policy where if the name changes, authors can change on their papers their name. We offer them to publish their pronouns, and we started a campaign to encourage referees and authors to use gender neutral languages. So we did a lot of things that impact all of the journals.
One of the things you referenced was the meetings several years ago.
Yes.
Clearly, COVID impacted the meetings. We are back now in person. How did COVID impact publishing?
First of all, we were prepared to work remotely. We've been working, all the editors and the whole staff has been working remotely for 2 years. And looking at the numbers, initially in the summer of 2020, the numbers increased, the submission numbers and then also the publication number increased because people couldn't go into their labs. So they started working and writing up papers that had been backed up and that didn't get around to publishing. But then in the fall, beginning of 2021, those numbers dropped because they ran out of material and they couldn't still get back to the lab. And now the numbers are roughly where they were pre-COVID. And we have to see when people start up their lab again, there will be delay and hopefully the numbers keep going up again.
Yeah, wonderful. So we've caught up a little bit. So let's look ahead to the future and what we see. Any changes, anything new?
Yeah, so everything that we do with the physical review journals published by APS is going to be directly aligned with the mission, the APS mission, to diffuse and advance the knowledge of physics and to serve our broader physics community. And so what we know is that that community is growing and diversifying in its interests and the type of research that it's conducting. So we're going to continue to grow and diversify our options, our publishing options, in line with that. And that's directly stated in our 2019 APS strategic plan, and our journals plans are directly aligned with that. So we'll keep listening to the needs of the community. We're hearing more and more about the need for more open science, open access journals, and other services to support open science. And a number of other things, like expanding into topics where physics is moving into that are new for our physics community, but where our journals need to continue to evolve and develop to serve the needs of the community.
I mean, that's the exciting thing, right? The expansion and the broad reach in physics now.
That's right. And it all is summarized, I think, in one word, and that is inclusion, and being inclusive of all researchers that do physics and physics-related research. So this is what we are focusing on and aiming for.
And you are handling all things physics. We
That's
so
right.
appreciate
Absolutely.
you being here and
Thank you
everything
very
you
much.
do in publishing.
Yeah, thank you.
Now let's find out more about how companies are innovating quantum research and development. QDevil is a company founded by physicists in 2016 with the aim of accelerating R&D in quantum electronics labs by supplying world-class auxiliary systems and devices operating from millikelvin to room temperature. Over the last 5 years, the company has delivered products and solutions to about 80 customers in 20 countries.
QDevil is a quantum technology company located in Copenhagen, Denmark. Our purpose is to accelerate quantum science worldwide.
We can help them in doing their work faster because we have spent a lot of time perfecting and developing the tools that they can use for their research.
QDevil is special in the way that it is bootstrapped by two physicists.
If our products are not good enough for state-of-the-art labs at the Niels Bohr Institute, we don't consider them ready for the customers.
There are so many details needed to get experimental physics to work. That's why we think the devil is in the detail.
They all have a scientific background. They all work in the lab and they know what quality is needed to get really good results.
The future of quantum science is to a very large part unknown. QDevil's spirit is to engage with the unknown.
Quera Computing is a startup located in Boston, focusing on neutral atoms-based quantum computing. Quera was founded on research conducted at Harvard and MIT and helps to deliver useful quantum advantage to customers to help them solve problems which they've so far considered impossible.
We believe that Quera is uniquely positioned to play a leading role in this second quantum revolution. Quera has access and has developed unprecedented technology for controlling, truly large-scale quantum systems.
What makes Quera unique is a combination of the hardware that we use and the fact that we are creating the full stack on top of this core technology. We are already working with very large quantum processors at this point with 256 qubits that have incredible quantum power that is beyond what any classical computer can predict at this point. And I am very excited to see Quera be at the forefront of these developments to provide useful quantum advantage.
Q-Control is building the quantum technology industry by overcoming the fundamental challenge in the field, hardware error and instability. Let's find out more.
Quantum technology promises to be as transformational in the 21st century as harnessing electricity was in the 19th. And at Q-Control, we are pioneers in the discipline of quantum control engineering, looking to make this field useful. The fundamental challenge facing quantum technology is decoherence and error, the instability of hardware against interference from the world around it. This is the Achilles heel of this technology.
The environment around us, it interrupts the performance of these devices, but fortunately you can use quantum control to mitigate these noise effects and get rid of them entirely. That's what we do here at Q-Control.
I found working with the Q-Control team to be a lot of fun. The researchers there are really interested in the kind of physics we're doing, and they're interested in learning about our very specific applications. They often take the time to schedule meetings about us to learn about what our needs are and how they can best help adapt their platform.
Quartic builds software and hardware that enables users to solve the most complex control problems in quantum technologies, from quantum metrology to quantum computers. They're able to control experiments on timescales from nanoseconds all the way to years.
Quartic is a small company in Berlin, Adlershof. We build control systems for quantum technology, software, hardware, and algorithms. We collaborate with partners in academia and in industry to build a system that contains dozens of modules for all kinds of applications.
Our goal in the group is to develop the next generation of integrated atom-based devices for timing, field sensing, and communication applications.
The collaboration with Quartic will enable us to achieve the required robustness that is really necessary for quantum technology to find application in industry.
The work atmosphere at Quartic is really interesting because it kind of combines this scientific style of debate to find the best solution possible. And so there's some really constructive and beneficial debates that kind of happen in the software design process.
For the future, I hope that Quartic and our collaborative open source approach can become a foundational part of the second quantum revolution.
Amy Flatten, APS Director of International Affairs, and Patricia McBride, Chair of APS Welcoming Global Hub, join me now. Thank you so much for being here. Why did APS decide to strengthen its connections abroad and enhance its international community?
A lot of people think that this is a relatively new endeavor for APS. The society's really always been fairly international. Back in 2017 or 2018, our CEO at the time launched a task force, and the task force name was the APS Task Force on Expanding International Engagement. And it was chaired, interestingly, by John Bagger, who was a volunteer at the time, and John's our CEO now. There were a couple things that we noticed when we were undertaking this survey. When the respondents were asked, "What's your primary reason for belonging to APS?" all of the respondents, regardless of where they were located on the globe, said they wanted to be part of a larger physics community. So that told us that we had the opportunity to serve as a welcoming global hub. We don't presume to be the world's physical society, but instead offer a welcoming community for the world's physicists to connect with each other.
How do you think APS is going to benefit from this larger community?
APS has been, a leader in sort of the inclusiveness in science and in physics, and we're hoping that in examining the processes and making them more serving the sort of the international community and the U.S. community in a better way, so that we have more participation in meetings and making things more open. I think that's something we believe strongly will help society and help tackle some of the sort of scientific challenges we have ahead. We hope that APS in doing this can be, an agent for science for peace.
What does this roadmap you developed look like?
So we're looking at models where we reduce the barrier of fees for meetings. We're talking about making more programs for students and early career scientists around the world, providing more networking opportunities, and also more chances for dialogue. So also looking at ways for APS to step up to be leading communication efforts between the various physics societies around the world, so the physicists can better, attack the problems that are facing society.
What are your hopes for the future of the project?
We are certainly not trying to, again, be the world's physical society, but strengthen our partnerships with our other national physical societies. And in doing so, we need to ask, does this roadmap demonstrate the appropriate sensitivity to not only individual physicists, but physics communities, physics organizations, physics institutions worldwide? We have a lot of work ahead, but it's gratifying work and it's good work. And we're proud to be able to take on this challenge and this opportunity.
Amy Flanton and Patricia McBride, thank you so much. We're APS TV, your daily news show featuring interviews and discussions on hot topics in physics from this year's APS March meeting. You can catch us around the convention center, in your hotel room, on the virtual meeting platform, and on YouTube. And you can join the conversation on social media with new content each day of the meeting. Make sure to keep watching. Let's take a look at some more of the companies that are advancing the field of quantum technologies. One of the world's largest financial firms wants clients and businesses to know it's quantum ready. See how JP Chase is preparing for the threats this technology poses to today's cryptography.
It's pretty unique in the industry to have a research lab in a bank. FLAIR is the future lab for applied research and engineering. It's a research lab inside the JP Chase.
We use FLAIR as a very structured approach to then filter through what's happening out on that technology landscape and identify how we can take that and integrate it into what we call the fabric of the firm.
JP Chase has been among the first companies worldwide to work on quantum computing.
The impact from quantum is going to be quite extensive and impactful as well.
We have a very important need for sophisticated algorithms and for security. We are making a difference in the financial industry. I can't wait for JP Chase to hit quantum advantage and one day quantum supremacy with our financial applications.
Let's head over to Germany now and the federal state of Lower Saxony, where Quantum Valley Lower Saxony is bringing together more than 400 scientists, engineers, and business professionals into a leading European hub.
Quantentechnologie und Niedersachsen sind eine tolle Einheit. Wir haben seit vielen Jahren sehr stark in diesen Bereich hinein investiert.
The Quantum Valley Lower Saxony covers the entire ecosystem of quantum technologies.
The first moonshot goal is to build a fully programmable, multi-register iron-trap quantum computer by 2025.
We are developing quantum clocks for a next generation of atomic clocks. We can push the bounds for the search of new physics.
We want to demonstrate the benefit of this new technology for gravimetric Earth observation.
We use nanophotonics to create synergies at the interface of quantum and nanoworld.
The work conducted in gravitational wave research was crucial for the Nobel Prize awarded in 2017.
We are pushing the frontiers of quantum science and innovation with a shared enthusiasm and dedication.
QB is a quantum computing startup based in Leuven, Belgium, focusing on building quantum computers. Their small team of computer engineers specializes in areas such as quantum logic and building computers based on transistors to support universities.
Classical computers, they're made of transistors, and we are at 2 nanometer of the size of a transistor. So that basically means we cannot make it any smaller anymore, but we do need more compute power.
And quantum computers promise to do so, and we have to be ready for it.
You can already simulate
quantum computation on a classical quantum computing simulator.
So what we're doing, we brainstorm a lot on all these aspects and we start making small-scale kind of infrastructure for a quantum accelerator, which is a smaller kind of version of a quantum computer.
We have a very high interdisciplinary team here at QB. We can figure out what is exactly required to build the full-fledged quantum accelerated application.
The QB mission is to help universities make the move already to quantum logic in all sciences, and that we help companies to actually start defining what quantum logic implies for the product that they're developing and putting on the market.
Offering its clients an entire suite of quantum cybersecurity solutions, Quantropy is an Ottawa-based company aiming to tackle the quantum threat. Let's take a look at the science behind their technology and find out just how dangerous the quantum threat could be.
Potentially a few years from now, quantum computers will be able to break today's encryption. The encryption that protects our internet and allows us to continue to thrive in a digital economy.
Quantropy has developed its unique quantum encryptions using quantum permutation pad or QPP in both classical and quantum computers. Quantropy developed its digital QPP platform for classical computers and QPP circuits for quantum computers, a big breakthrough for Quantropy.
The Keyspace platform is software as a service from Quantropy that provides quantum secure solutions to the three cryptographic prerequisites: trust, uncertainty, and entropy.
Quantropy will not give up until Keyspace enables every organization on this planet to be quantum secure. And we will also ensure that trust is minted and truth prevails forever.
Quant specializes in photonic quantum technologies. It's created a technology framework comprised of numerous innovations from which it derives products in quantum sensing and quantum computing. Quant is at the forefront of new developments and are very market-oriented with a strong footing in photonics research.
We founded Quant with a vision to revolutionize the quality how machines analyze their environment, how people notice information, and the way humans think. By developing novel sensors and computing chips, we follow up on 4 product developments: particle sensing, magnetic sensing, atomic gyroscopes, and photonic quantum computing.
Our photonic approach to particle sensing means that we sample light in multiple dimensions simultaneously with very high frequency.
We are developing diamond-based quantum sensors, which will serve as magnetometers. And our goal at Quant is to create a new form of interface between humans and the digital world.
Gyroscopes based on quantum technology are very small, very stable, and have way less drift compared to traditional approaches.
For photonic quantum computing, we need different building blocks. The first one would be entangled photon sources, then waveguides to let the photons propagate between the gates, which run the operations, and then the detection.
We are standing at the beginning of a new technological era, which will make significant contribution to our daily life.
Next, we're catching up with some of the speakers of the Kavli Foundation Special Symposium, aimed to show that physics is fun, stimulating, and can improve lives. Let's find out what their lectures are about.
My name is Ulf Leonhardt. I'm at the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel, and I'm here to give one of the Kavli lectures. And in particular, I will talk about the mystery of dark energy and a possible way to explain it. I mean, astronomers have discovered that there seems to be a mysterious force in the universe that accelerates the expansion of the universe. It draws things away, and nobody quite knows what that is. And another thing is that it amounts to 70% of all the mass in the universe. So it's quite a substantial thing. And we think that we have some sort of explanation for it, and that the explanation comes from forces that are actually not mysterious, that are all around us, that lead to attractions and capillary forces, and these are forces of the quantum vacuum. And we hope that this explanation could shed some light into dark energy, that it's just another side of the same coin. So what on Earth leads to attractive forces may in the universe lead to an overall repulsive force.
My name is Christiane Moraes-Smith. I'm a professor in theoretical physics at the University of Utrecht in the Netherlands. And this time I'm invited to give a talk at the Kavli Symposium on Thursday evening. We have been trying to create a new kind of quantum simulators using electrons. So we are patterning matter on a nanometer scale. And we have been constructing the first quantum fractal in the world. And we could show that the electronic wave functions are living in dimension 1.58. So we are investigating fractals, which have fractional dimensions. And last year, we could, using photonics, show how photons are propagating in these fractional dimensions. So it's very exciting, and this might have some connections with how information is being transmitted in our brains. So there is a very exciting proposal by Roger Penrose that the propagation of information to form consciousness might be via quantum mechanical process, and the neuronal structure is fractal. So we have been measuring the first transmission of a quantum particle, photons, in a fractal. So this might even open some answers to these big questions.
I'm Carlo Beenakker. I'm a theoretical physicist based in the Netherlands, Leiden University, Lawrence Institute, and I work basically in nanoscience. But these days, much of that is focused on quantum computing, quantum information processing. And let's say my niche is topological quantum computing. So everything to do with Majorana fermions and that kind of stuff. If you follow the news in the past year, Majorana fermions did not get good news. We thought they had been discovered in 2012. And they would be like the holy grail or the dream of mankind for a quantum computer. Particles which don't suffer decoherence and so some sort of magic thing, a gift of nature. And then it turned out that these experiments which had thought that they'd seen them basically saw something else. I will discuss an alternative platform, which I think is very promising, which is Majorana edge modes. And the fun thing is these are Majorana fermions which move. So they're not stuck to some wire, but they move along a boundary. And that even creates possibility, because the holy grail experiment which you want to do with these objects, let's say the Nobel Prize winning experiment, is to braid them, to exchange them in space and then see their anomalous statistics. And if they move, somehow that seems much more doable than if they're fixed at the endpoints of a wire. So I'm kind of optimistic that this could be a roadmap or a platform to demonstrate this very exotic type of particle. And I'll basically give a little bit of an overview.
And finally, let's hear more from you, the attendees, about how you think the world of physics has changed in the last 2 years with COVID.
Talking and like being mentored by someone who's not physically close to you is a lot. It happens a lot more now, to where there can be people on the other side of the country who would feel comfortable joining like a Zoom meeting to kind of help you with whatever you're going through and offer you advice and stuff.
It depends on what stream you're working on. If you're working on a lab, it's like experimental. They faced a lot of damage because of it. But if you're working on theory or computational physics, you can just move around with your laptop. But I think the most difficult position was the working on labs, experimental physicist.
But having joined a new organization during the pandemic has made it really hard to make that personal connection. And it's also caused a visible decrease in creativity and innovation.
So yeah, I do theory. So we've been working from home.
And yeah, we've been able to talk to collaborators in Europe because Zoom became, like a norm. But yeah, there's the in-person component that's missing, but there's also this virtual component that became live.
That's it for our third day here at the 2022 APS March meeting. And things are well underway here in Chicago and virtually, with attendees connecting and networking across both sites. Tomorrow, we'll hear more about the APS policy priorities and some of the cutting-edge work of the universities in quantum science and innovation. Before then, you can watch the show here at the Convention Center, in your hotel room, and online. And don't forget to subscribe to APS TV on social media. We'll see you tomorrow.